Hello everyone, and thanks for joining my channel. Today I am the guest designer for the Layout a Day challenge, and every day we get a couple of prompts to inspire us to scrapbook, and today's prompt is inspired by Ringo Starr and specifically the Octopus's Garden Song. So our prompts were to scrapbook a story about gardening or outdoors, and then the technique prompt was to include a star inspired by Ringo Starr's name. Now I am going to do some mixed media today, and I'm using this Vicky Bouton mixed media paper. I'm actually going to be using alcohol inks. And now, paper is not a friend to alcohol ink. Alcohol inks are intended for non-porous surfaces. And so I am going to turn my paper into a non-porous surface by coating it in gesso. And so here my paper is all ready to go, and I have pre-cut a bunch of my elements for my paper. I've matted my photos in black, and these are pretty flower photos from my garden. And that is why I'm going to be doing alcohol ink today, because I wanted bursts of color on this layout that match how I feel about the bursts of color from the flowers in my garden. These little elements here are going to turn into shaker elements, so if you stick around, I will show you how I did that later, and I actually have a free SVG cut file for you that you can download from my blog. So let's go ahead and get started with the alcohol ink technique. I have my planned layout here with my photos, and I just kind of mark them with a pencil to give myself some areas to work with. Now that little blower there is a tool used for blowing markers, and it's actually a Tim Holtz tool. I know he has a new blower out there, but since I have this tool already, I don't want to buy something new. So I pulled out all my alcohol inks and also the blending solution. And I picked out colors that would kind of match with my photos, and I usually, I picked out two colors kind of for each zone of my photo. And I am laying down the blending solution here to help give the color more flow to it. And then I'm using that blower to spread it around. And as you can see, I didn't have quite enough color in the yellow, so I just went back and added some more. The nice thing about alcohol inks is that it's fairly forgiving, and you can work with it and undo mistakes, and we'll actually get to that part in just a moment here, and here it is. That section up there had too much purple in it and I wanted more pink, so I used my blending solution to reactivate the alcohol inks, and I just lifted off some of the color, and I just added back in more of the color that I actually wanted there. And again, down in this bottom corner, it wasn't quite the color I was looking for, so I did the same thing. I just reactivated it with the blending solution and then added more of that blue that I wanted in there instead of excess purple. And that's the nice thing about alcohol inks. You could do this technique with watercolors, but your colors would not be as vibrant and they would be less forgiving of mistakes. So I went ahead and diluted my inks a little bit with the blending solution so that they would make them flow better, and I added some spatters of each of the colors to all the zones so that it kind of ties all the colors in together, and that gives me my mixed media background. And here we are with these little shaker elements. Now I designed this SVG cut file. I am kind of self-learning some Illustrator skills, and these are available on my blog, so if you follow the links in the show notes, you will be able to go and download these. I designed these SVG files to have several pieces to them. There's the main decorative, the top of the shaker element, and I've designed the cut file that will cut out acetate, or what I like to do is just use scrap plastic, because why buy a brand new product if you can use something that you would normally just throw away? So you can cut this this isn't acetate, sorry, this scrap plastic on your die cutting machines. Most machines will be able to handle that. Now I have a Cricut Maker, and I will use my Cricut Maker to cut actually fun foam to be the thick element of the shaker card, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. Now as you can see, I'm assembling everything. I have pre-cut all of my pieces on my die cut machine, and the assembly is pretty simple. You just kind of glue everything together. So I'm adding my window piece to the shaker element, and then because I pre-cut the fun foam, that's all the thickness I need. However, if your machine can't handle fun foam, what you can do is those hollow circles are for giving your shaker dimension so that it has room to shake. And you can just die cut those pieces out of regular cardstock and just cut multiple pieces and stack them up and glue every layer together until you have the thickness and the depth that you're looking for. Of course, you could always use foam tape to give these dimension, but I like doing the pre-cut pieces better because the foam tape can be a little difficult to get to form around curves. Now I cut these shakers, they're the exact same shaker, I just cut them in some different sizes, and as I've assembled them, I've weighted them down a little bit to make sure the glue sets. I just used some acrylic blocks. And we are ready to put the rest of the page together. So I've brought all my pieces back to the page, and I have some extra black letters for finishing off my title. Now the word garden I just printed on photo paper using a word processor that allows me to add a black box and to colorize my letters. So I colored the letters to kind of go with the colors of my flowers. So that's part of my title there, garden. And I'm just kind of arranging elements so that I get them where I'm happy, and I start adhering everything down. And I go ahead and finish off my title with the letters, and I'm not going to make you watch me spell everything, so we'll skip to the next bit. Now I'm turning to my shaker elements. I am using sequins from Spiegelmom Scraps, and you'll find the link below, as well as some Doodlebug sequins and some stars from my stash because of that star prompt. So I'm just making a little pile of sequins where I want my shakers to go, and I just glue those elements down, and that it's as simple as that. So I am picking colors again that kind of go with each section of the flowers and the alcohol ink colors, and that ties everything together. And of course I use 3 shaker elements to go with our design rule of 3s. And I turn to the journaling next. I just give myself a few lines with a ruler to add in all my thoughts here. And that completes this layout for this time. So I hope you enjoyed this project, and I hope you give some alcohol inks a try. And I will leave you with the final close-up of the project. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me in the future for more projects. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, and if you'd like to see my future videos, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thank you for joining me.